Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Carol Ann, and I am the president of the Robbinsville Democratic Club. Thank you so much for being part of the Meet the Candidates forum. We are very much looking forward to this. Next to me is Sonia Walter. She is the Muni Chair for Robbinsville, and I'm going to let her take this over. Thank you.
All right, so I'm probably gonna sound a little frenzied. Hi everyone, I'm Sonia. I'm the Robbinsville committee chairperson, as Carol Ann just said. I represent District 2 in Robbinsville. So before we start with the candidates, I just want to go through and have all the committee members that I see, and if I miss somebody, raise your hand. Just introduce themselves, just tell us who you are, and a brief, like 20-second little spiel, and what district you represent. So first we'll start with Antonio Martinez.
Good morning, all. My name is Antonio Martinez. I'm an attorney for the last 32 years. I've resided in Robbinsville for the last 25 years, and I represent District 3.
Okay. And now Nushin.
Hi, my name is Nushin. I live in Robbinsville for past 19 years, and I have been a committee member for past 5 years, and I'm looking forward to this. Thank you.
Okay, Terry.
Hi, I'm Taryn Stimfel. I'm retired. I spent a lot of time as an environmental activist and have recently, well, not so recently, but am more focused these days on politics and social justice issues. I represent District 1.
Amber.
Hi, I'm Amber Halpern. I represent District 7 and I am a teacher.
My name is Scott Halpern. I'm the Vice President of the Robbinsville Democratic Club, and I've been living here for 4 years and active in the community for 4 years.
That was a nice twofer there. Brian?
Thanks, Sonia. Good morning, everyone. Brian Hayes. I've lived in Robbinsville for 8 years, and I work in education and philanthropy. Good to be with you all.
Bianca?
Hi everyone, I'm Bianca Jerez. I have lived in Robbinsville for about 7 years now. I represent District 5 and I am Chief of Staff to neighboring Hamilton Township Mayor Martin.
Fizza?
Hey, good morning everyone. Fizza Sierra. I've been a resident of Robbinsville since 2011. I currently work for Johnson & Johnson as a strategic market director, and I look forward to hearing from the candidates. And thank you so much to the team that put this together.
And Rick.
Yeah, Rick Austin. I've been in Robbinsville for almost 9 years now. I represent District 1. I do nothing interesting. I don't do strategic marketing. I'm a stay-at-home dad. To 2 kids, a 5 and a 3-year-old. So if you hear any noise, I'm going to keep myself on mute so they don't join the meeting with us.
Okay, that's everyone I see. Did I miss anybody? Any committee members? Any hands? No? Okay. All right. So then moving on, I would just like to welcome all the elected officials.
Actually, Sonia, I'm sorry. Andrew just joined us.
Oh. Andrew, can you say, is he?
He's muted.
Andrew?
He is muted. Andrew, do you want to unmute or we can just introduce you? Andrew Carlin is another, oh, there you are, Andrew.
Hello. Sorry about that, trying to get audio connected. Hello.
Hi. So just tell us about yourself, what district you represent. And
yes, hi, Andrew Carlin, Robbinsville District 7.
Alrighty.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know what we were doing.
Just a little introductory, like, hey, here's who I am. So thank you. Alrighty, I like that brevity. So again, I'd like to welcome all of the candidates. We really appreciate the fact that you came out this fine morning. well, sort of came out, but are joining us anyway in your capacity. So instead of introducing all of the elected officials who are here right now, I'm just going to go through in order. I know that 2 people have indicated they need to leave early, so I'm going to start with them. So first, I'd like to introduce Senator Linda Greenstein and just have her talk for a few minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Carol Ann, and everybody else. It's always good to be here. I saw you briefly a couple of months ago and spoke about many different issues. I'm going to be very brief right now. I want to start by saying thank you for your support over the years. And, you know, as you know, I'll be running this next time for my God knows what number term. I don't remember, but about my 4th time for the Senate. And I look forward to continuing serving with Diane and Wayne. We all work on so many different issues. We're not linked to one issue. We work on many things, somewhat depending on our committees. I'm the chair of the Law and Public Safety Committee, and it so happens that social justice issues and police issues happen to be very big now nationally. Cory Booker just submitted some omnibus legislation about it. So we are working on some of those kinds of things. I'm on budget, I'm on many, many other committees. And I look forward to continue serving you. And one of the things that I was noticing as the committee people spoke is we're actually getting a really solid core of people here in Robbinsville. I used to feel like everybody lived there about a year, everybody was new, but now we have people who've really been there for a while. And I think that bodes well for the future of Democratic politics in Robbinsville. So thanks again for all of your past and anticipated support. I'm available anytime. My office is in Cranberry, and please call me. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And next we'll hear from our wonderful county surrogate, Diane Joroski.
Here I am. I unmuted myself. I think I'm okay. Am I okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
I guess first and foremost, I want to thank Sonia for being a stalwart of the Democratic Party in Robbinsville. She was one of the first ones out there many, many years ago who did put herself out there for elected office and help bring the Democrats to Robbinsville because it was not a very friendly Democratic territory. I had been very successful in winning 4 out of 5 times in Robbinsville, so I'm comfortable. My name is Diane Joroski. I'm the Mercer County Surrogate Judge. I do probate, adoptions, guardianships, wedding ceremonies, and I handle about $14 million in minor funds. There are 21 surrogate judges in the state of New Jersey, and we are elected, and there's 1 in each county. I want to thank all the committee people. It's so nice to see your faces with the labels that I put on all those envelopes and how many of you have been so gracious to respond already to them. I look forward to your continued support. I've had a satellite office in the senior center for 2 decades so that people don't have to come into Trenton. They've been extremely successful, and the Robbinsville Senior Center has been very gracious in giving me the time and the space to meet with people. Again, I thank you for your support, and I look for your continued support in November. Good luck to everyone in Robbinsville, and Carol, you've really brought the club into its forefront. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. And next, just a brief word from our wonderful Assemblyman, Dan Benson.
I'll be brief because I know everyone wants to hear from our county commissioner candidates, and I feel like I've been the keynote speaker at Robbinsville's last 5 events, and I love it. And I just want to bring greetings and thanks for support for another election year in the 14th district. We have a phenomenal team, and I have loved kind of growing up and growing stronger with the Robbinsville Democrats and seeing them really from you know, years past, and then seeing their rebirth and seeing how great things are going now. And I know it's going to keep getting better. So I want to just say thank you for your support, ask for your vote in the convention as usual, and ask for your activism as we try to achieve a strong Democratic message and victory in November from top to the bottom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Assemblyman. And now we shall hear from our terrific County Executive, Brian Hughes.
Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate the opportunity. I just want to say hello to all of my friends in Robbinsville. Sonia, we've known each other for quite some time. You've done along with everybody in Robbinsville, have done a tremendous job for the Democratic Party. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I've heard a lot of the candidates already, so I don't know if I'll stay for the whole meeting, but congratulations to Robbinsville and the Democratic Club. Have a great meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then our illustrious chairperson, Mayor Mirnoff, if you'd just like to say a few words.
Sure. So I should stop with illustrious and say thank you. So I did get to infill just a little bit during the pre-meeting time, answering some questions. So really, I just want to thank Sonia, the municipal chair, and Carol Ann, the club president, the other leadership, and the committee people for the great work you do, the great partners you've been with me as chair, and the great support that you have provided to me personally and through the elections. And anything that I can do, I'm here, and look forward to hearing the speakers this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, so we're going to now hear from, I believe that's, did I miss anyone? I think that's all the electeds we had. Did I miss anyone? No, I don't see any hands. Okay, so what we're going to do now is move on to our county commissioner candidates, and we're going to start with Ann Cannon, who's going to say
good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. I enjoy coming to Robbinsville. I know I've known Sonia, as everyone has mentioned. Sonia, you are the true backbone of Robbinsville. You have been in the trenches and working so hard for so many years. God bless you. I give you a lot of credit. And Carol Ann, thank you for coming along. I think this is going to be the charm. This will make the difference. I think the fact that you've reached out, you're filling your seats for the committee, and you're active. You're constantly out there, meetings every month. I think this will be the charm. The world's changed so much in the last even 5 years. Forget about the pandemic, but just the way we do business. I think doing the Zoom meetings, it has sort of made it easier to do some of the running around the county. Many times I have had to go from one side of the county to the other, worry about flying down the highway and just getting to a meeting. So I think in a way that's the positive side of the pandemic. I want to turn to the candidates who are running, who have put their names forward to fill this position. I want to say that I'm impressed by the depth of your commitment and your stepping up to the plate. What you bring to the plate is very impressive. I want to say, when you run for a public office, you open your lives, you open your hearts to all of us, and your lives are on display. And I want to say I'm very, very impressed. I too was one of you many years ago. And every time we run, it's all new again. And some parts of us come to the fore, and as we grow. So I want to thank you for putting your names out, putting your lives on the line. You kind of suspend your lives when you're running. So that's another dedication, and it's like a gift that you're giving to us. And those of us who are on the sidelines looking, other club members, other committee members, you are something to be amazed by, and a goal. So if you're ever thinking this is not enough, it is a wonderful gift that you give back to the people. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hearing from you one more time. I will stay to the end. I believe that's my job, And so I will be here. And if anyone needs me for anything, give me a call. You can call on me. If you need a donation, I can do that too. So I am blessed in many ways. So thank you again, and thank you for having us.
Thank you, Anne. That was very sweet. And next, somebody who is very familiar to all of us, Commissioner Sam Crisby.
Good afternoon. I apologize. I'm actually in service right now at church. I just got up from the piano because I saw that this meeting was going on. But I do want to say thank you to Robbinsville Dems for putting this together. Thank you for every candidate that is running, because this is how our democracy works, right? It's for the people, by the people. And so we've got good people. I've had an opportunity to listen to every single one of these candidates. We have an embarrassment of riches with people that really understand how the different communities work, all of our communities in Mercer County. And so I want to say thank you to Robbinsville, the Robbinsville Dems, because you guys have been doing incredible work over the last couple of years, party building and raising the level of Democrats in Robbinsville. I look forward to being at the convention. I look forward to, my name is already in the ring for re-election, and hopefully I have the support of the Robbinsville Democrats. And I'm looking forward to seeing every single one of these candidates at the convention. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Sam. We appreciate it. Okay, so I believe those are the candidates who are not running for a contested seat. So now I'd like to give all the candidates for the open seat. Pat Polavita, as many of you know, is retiring this year. And so these candidates are vying to fill his seat on the county commissioner board. So everyone is gonna have 5 minutes. Carolina is gonna be the official timekeeper. So everyone's gonna have 5 minutes to tell us about you, what your platform is, and whatever else you think we need to know. I'm gonna go in a random order. Basically, it's the order that I wrote people down. So there's nothing beyond the fact that this is how I wrote you down. So we're gonna start out with Mike Powers.
Good morning, Robbinsville Democrats. For those that don't know me, I'm Councilman Mike Powers from Lawrence Township. I'm a 16-year veteran of the Township Council and had the privilege of serving 2 terms of mayor as Lawrence. As an attorney in private practice, I've successfully represented working men and women across Mercer County, including folks from Robbinsville, for over a decade. It's Women's History Month, and I now work for Gynecological Oncology Group, where we're seeking to find a cure for cancers exclusively affecting women. Robbinsville and Lawrence Township have always had a special relationship. Before your high school was built, your kids attended and graduated from my high school, Lawrence High. I've known your municipal chair, Sonia Walter, since she was the Washington Township municipal chair. And I'm also glad to see some new faces. And that's a reflection on your club president, Carol Ann Blank. We have a good story to tell in Lawrence, unlike your Republican mayor, Dave Freed. While I know Amazon pays its workers $15 an hour nationally, Mayor Freed boasts on your taxpayer-funded website about these $1,500, $30,000 a year jobs he's brought to Robbinsville, in a state where the average property tax bill is $9,000 before you pay for your food and your electric and heat bill to the hedge fund Jersey Central Power and Light and Optimum for crappy internet services. I had a laugh when I saw Mayor Freed wants Robbinsville residents to fill out an electronic form if you have internet connection problems. So I would suggest you come to my town where we have PSE&G and Comcast and Verizon to fill out the electronic form for Mayor Freed. New Jersey has always been the medicine chest of our nation. And you saw the news recently with New Jersey's own Merck and Johnson & Johnson in New Brunswick partnering to maximize the production of J&J's COVID vaccine. But other states like North Carolina with its Research Triangle Park, California, and Massachusetts are trying to move these high-paying jobs away from New Jersey. Kristin Mclaughlin can tell you about the $1 million tax rateable hit Hopewell Township experienced when Bristol-Myers Squibb consolidated its operations and doubled down on its investment in Lawrence Township to bring 2,500 high-paying jobs to our community in a LEED Gold certified building on Princeton Pike. Despite the pandemic, Lawrence Township will have no tax increase this year, in no small part due to Bristol-Myers Squibb's investment in our community. But in order to keep these high-paying jobs in Mercer County, we need to attract and train the next generation of life science innovators. How do we do this? We build a magnet biotechnology school to provide kids from the city of Trenton with the same educational opportunities and classrooms as their suburban counterparts. But government can't do this alone. Bristol-Myers Squibb gave $2 million to Lawrence Township and Hopewell to build the 22-mile Lawrence-Hopewell trail. Imagine how much more than $2 million Bristol-Myers Squibb and others would be willing to provide to support education equity and their next generation of employees. That is a powerful message. Finally, I know the Robbinsville committee will be discussing endorsements today. And I'm proud to say that I've been endorsed by Commissioner Pat Calavita, who's stepping down from the board. And I humbly ask for your endorsement and, more importantly, your vote at the March 18th convention. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. We appreciate that. And next we have Tennille McCoy.
Hello and good morning to the Robbinsville Dems. Happy Women's History Month. And thank you so much for the invite. I really appreciate your time and consideration. And obviously, I'm looking for your vote and support for my run for County Commissioner. I understand that the smart, efficient government starts at the local level. And that's why I've been doing the work for so many years along the side of so many of our Mercer County Democrats. Many of you are getting to know me, and many individuals in Mercer County, they know my character, they know my family, but most importantly, I understand this community in which I grew up in. We must be intentional in selecting the next candidate for County Commissioner. It's critical that we nominate an individual who has been loyal to the party, is capable of fundraising, a person that has the background and the experience in government, who is best equipped and armed with the necessary tools and resources to lead our party to victory. My experience in working under 6 different governors demonstrates my ability to thrive under conditions of constant transformation. I uniquely understand the delicate balance that must be struck between private and public sector in these tough economic times. I've administered multi-million-dollar labor contracts, and I understand the value of collective bargaining, and that particular concept shouldn't be sacrificed. Quality of life issues that affect our families and neighborhoods are at the top of my agenda. Residents who have real issues like awaiting COVID vaccinations. I believe in an open and transparent and efficient government that encourages participation. Through my role as senior project lead for New Jersey public apprenticeship programs and board member with Mercer County Vocational School, I understand the importance of apprenticeship programs and creating a platform for those who don't see a 4-year college in their future, or an individual who's looking to pivot into a new career. One thing for sure, COVID has taught us is that we must prepare our workforce for the future of work, which results in helping our communities maintain a stable middle class. I've led teams in multiple geographies and functions. I believe this opportunity is a natural progression and an extension of my experience in education. I'm currently seeking a global MBA from the London School of Economics, HEC of Paris, and NYU. My capstone project centers around extracting oil from the Jatropha plant in India and generating biodiesel, which would reduce our use of fossil fuel. I've said in recent meetings where one of our largest economic engines is the Mercer County Airport. And I think a partnership with airlines and also with the unions, we should be supporting initiatives and incentives for sustainable aviation fuel and technology to remove carbon from the atmosphere, while amplifying support for tourism task force. In addition, I've administered the Executive Order 192, working with other entities and providing a health and safety parameters in the workplace. Our top priority right now throughout the county is to make sure COVID vaccinations are provided and also making sure that there is fair distribution throughout the county. In my current role, I've created higher education programs in partnership with Mercer County Community College to train and provide academic credentials for long-term staff. This has increased mobility for women and people of color who were unable to advance while preparing the department for the future of work. I will be launching the Sam McCoy Scholarship Fund. My dad passed away in 2018, and he was a baseball coach for over 40 years. And particularly, he worked with North Trenton Little League. And so I'm going to be earmarking one of those scholarships for a student in North Trenton, and the other two will be for Mercer County students. As a woman and as a millennial of color, I believe that diversity is a key ingredient towards progression and innovation. And I hope that we're all able to walk on common ground to forge our energy together to meet our goals. So I ask for your support and your vote on March 18th. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neil. And I just want to point out that at the end of this session, we should have some time for questions. So if anybody has any questions that they can think of that they would like to ask, if you could please just put them into the chat, and then we'll go through them and we'll call on you to ask your question when all the candidates have spoken. So next on my list, I have Yanmei Wang.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson, for the opportunity to speak before Robbinsville Democrats today. When I listened to Ms. Sifra's speeches at the Building Inclusive Community presentation, when I watched the appointment of Mr. Martinez to the Mercer County Parks Commission, and when I learned about your presentation of the Better Ballot New Jersey resolution, I knew that I have found allies in fighting for our environmental and social values in Robbinsville Democrats. Why do I run for the county commissioner position? 30 years ago, after years of planning, my parents exhausted their lifetime saving plus a Ponzi loan that collapsed right after I left and sent me, an 18-year-old, from China to America, all for my childhood dream to become a public servant and to make policies to help many, many people. And today, yes, this dream has come true. After having worked at 20 different most minimum wages jobs, ranging from food server to educator, after having gone to school and becoming a physicist, and after years of championing for our county at the grassroots level, I can now stand before you and ask for your support for my candidacy for the Mercer County Commissioner position. What contributions have I made towards our county? I started the West Windsor Plastics for West Windsor Parks program and recycled 3,000 pounds of plastic films into 4 park benches, introduced the program to Mercer County Parks Commission and to you today. Solved a noisy bus problem, a noise pollution problem by changing the bus to a small shuttle in 6 days for hundreds of residents while reducing West Windsor air pollution by 0.1%. Mercer County has been running this successful pavement preservation methods to fix our roads while reducing costs and reducing our greenhouse gas emission. Learn about this great program in my 10 infrastructure and transportation courses taken at Rutgers designed for policymakers. Introduced this program to West Windsor and implemented in 2019 and to you today. Last year, when no one had masks at the peak of the pandemic, I collected masks from New Jersey Chinese residents N95 as well as surgical masks and distributed them to local residents as well as frontline workers. Restore the Chinese New Book acquisition at Mercer County Library helped fill and diversify the 2020 West Windsor Democratic Committee and organized an American Civil Rights and I roundtable to introduce a dialogue between African American and Chinese American residents to support Black Lives Matter movement. Moving forward, with many townships hit hard by the pandemic, we have a lot to do. Fortunately, because of our county leadership, our great county leadership, our county executive and our county commissioners, we have many initiatives already in place for us to use directly or expand on to make the difference without slowing down our progression on the social and environmental fronts. The direct hire program, the direct hire initiative that taps into local skilled workers on a temporary basis will allow us to give jobs back to our local skilled labor quickly. So in a few months, they will not be on the street without unemployment checks. Hiring local combined with buying local, we can really achieve a 7% increase in our revenue next year and realistically achieve a post-pandemic economic recovery while reducing carbon footprints. In action, I will shop at Whole Earth Mart in Princeton, where local minority cashiers will check out my locally bought items, including reduced bin produce that will not only cut food waste, but together with composting, also reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 15% into my reusable bags. And I invite you to join me on these efforts. To end, when elected, I will be a full-time plus overtime steward for our county, with the bonus of filling the Asian contribution void to our county commissioners board, which will be timely for our county's recent anti-hate and anti-discrimination efforts. Thank you for your time, and I humbly ask for your support.
Thank you, Yanmei. Next we have Kristin Mclaughlin.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Robbinsville Democrats, for giving me some time to introduce myself to you. My husband and I moved to Mercer County in 2008. Hopewell Township is his hometown, and we found it to be an incredible place to raise our 3 daughters. With a push from our oldest daughter, I followed my mother's footsteps into elected office with a run for Township Committee in 2016. My mom served in the Kansas Senate for 16 years. That year, Michael Ruger and I took on 2 Republican incumbents, and I took back 1 seat for us. In 2019, when I ran for my 2nd term with Courtney Peters Manning, another strong Democratic woman, we successfully took the last Republican seat. In 2019 and 2020, I served as mayor, a true honor and a challenge during the COVID times. We have found in Hopewell Township that democratic values of inclusivity and equity, combined with a laser focus on good governance, wins elections. We turned red Hopewell a bright, clear blue. Here in Robbinsville, you are still fighting that good fight. I am here to tell you that you can win, and I have a roadmap to help. So, what have we done in Hopewell Township, and what does that tell you about what my priorities will be as a commissioner? First, we are very focused on accountability and transparency. We added a communication and outreach manager position. Our residents need good information, and we needed help getting it out. We created a Citizens Equity Advisory Board made up of residents to go through our existing regulations and procedures and look for ways we can ensure that we are equitable in everything we do. In talking with people from all over the county, I can clearly see the need for more communication at the county level. The county has projects and programs that touch every municipality. The county does an enormous amount of good. But exactly what that means is a mystery to most. As a commissioner, I will work with my colleagues to communicate with the towns and their residents to give them important information, but also to continually assess what needs are not being met and bring those needs forward. In Hopewell Township, we fight day and night to protect our environment. We protect open space, work with families who want to preserve their farms, and encourage trail development so those lands purchased with public dollars can be enjoyed by everyone. Working with a grant, we were able to install electric vehicle chargers at the municipal building and are moving our fleet of cars that direction. I have advocated for strong environmental protections in Washington, D.C. and at local events and marches. In everything we do, we build strong partnerships with local groups, the county, other municipalities, and our business community. Only by doing the work of consensus building can we build anything that lasts. We in Hopewell Township are very proud of our affordable housing settlement. While the system of allocating housing units to the municipalities could really use some careful attention, we are still very proud of the outcome for our township. We prioritized inclusive developments with the affordable units mixed in with the market rate. No child should be stigmatized when they learn their address. We have plans for smart, supportive commercial development that will enhance the quality of life for our new residents and support our existing business community. Our vision of a welcoming and equitable community is exciting to me. And as a commissioner, I will advocate for that kind of development where appropriate countywide. When Bristol-Myers Squibb announced that they would be vacating their facility in Hopewell, yes, to go to Lawrence, we were faced with a 6% loss of our tax base. Working diligently with them, the new owners, the Mercer County Office of Economic Development and the NJEDA, we have been able to attract an anchor tenant and have had a lot of interest in the rest of the site. I understand economic development is critical to our region, especially as we come out of the pandemic into a changed world. We need to enhance the assets we currently have, like the airport, continue to expand our transportation options, such as the Great Western Bikeway, and promote creative ideas to solve our growing needs. The county won a grant to develop an app that matches people who need rides to their jobs at the warehouses with people who also work there and can give them a ride there and back. That kind of creative thinking is an exciting way to use what we have to do more. As a commissioner, I will focus on supporting our existing local businesses and creating an attractive environment for new businesses to flourish. I want to emphasize that nothing gets done unless we work together. I am not the candidate that will tell you I already have all the answers. It is my practice to ask questions, bring together experts and those affected by whatever policy we're discussing, and carefully consider the possible solutions before I come to a decision. And I do that work exceptionally well. I've worked with other municipalities in the county to create shared service agreements, worked with small community groups to help them move their plans forward, and been part of a team who took a Republican-held town and brought Democratic ideas and values forward and changed the leadership. Stronger Together is not just the title of Hillary Clinton's book, it is the guiding principle of leadership for me. I don't have all the answers, but I do know that they are out there, and with cooperation and a great deal of communication, we can build a stronger Mercer County together. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Please reach out to me with any questions or thoughts you have about my candidacy. I would be very proud to earn your vote at the convention.
Thank you, Kristin. And last but not least, I believe, is Taryn Stokes.
Good morning, Robbinsville's Democratic Club. How's everything going this Sunday morning? It's a little chilly. You know, one of the things that I always want to make sure that I do as a former athlete and college football player is acknowledge the competition. So I'm going to do that every single time that we have these type of meetings, because I believe that we do have a very dynamic group of candidates who are interested in representing you, you know, as a county commissioner. You know, when you look at the backgrounds of the candidates, when you look at the years of service and what they've done, it's very impressive. And I am humbled and excited to be a part of this process and to be among such wonderful people who have given so much to their communities and are looking to now expand those givings to the county as well. So my name is Taryn Stokes, currently residing in Ewing, New Jersey for the past 20 years, grew up in Trenton, New Jersey, graduated from Trenton Central High School, had an opportunity to attend the University of Pennsylvania, where you can see I played a little bit of football from my background. And also, you know, did a bunch of years on Wall Street. My wife and I decided that Wall Street was not for me per se, not necessarily for her. So I decided that, you know, it was important for me to give back to a community which gave me so much. So in early 2001, I left Wall Street and began a work of giving back to particularly young people in the city of Trenton. Was a high school teacher of US history for a little bit, did some work for the New Jersey Schools Development Authority doing community outreach in communities in which we had projects that were being constructed. And now I'm currently manager of student services for Trenton Public Schools. And in that role is where I really find some of my greatest pleasures because I'm able to see the tangible benefits and the tangible outcomes of the work that I put in. You know, so my running for county commissioner is really about being of service. It's not about me saying that I'm a county commissioner. It's not about me having a title behind my name, but it's about me taking all of my experiences and seeing how that and trying to apply that on a countywide level. And I believe that the service and the results that I've been able to generate to date speaks well to that, to my ability to do that. You know, as a county commissioner, I know that one of the most important things that we are responsible for is having a fiduciary responsibility to the residents and the taxpayers of Mercer County. You know, so I bring that financial service background with me, having worked on Wall Street and then also having some retail banking experience as well. I also am fully aware of what my roles and responsibilities would be, you know, as a county commissioner, you know, and the ability and the importance, I should say, of, you know, board composition, having served on several boards. We have to make sure that this board is diverse and that it is representative of the communities in which we are serving. We have to have healthy debates, not necessarily disagreeable debates, but healthy debates on policies and things that come before us, and know which questions that are important to be asked and what questions need to be asked. And it's important that we're a check on the executive branch. I think that's, you know, we really need to keep that in mind. What are my focus points or what's important to me? I'm a commissioner on the Ewing Township Redevelopment Authority, where we are responsible for implementing the redevelopment plan for Ewing Township with a specific focus on Olden Avenue as well as Parkway Avenue. You know, so there's a focus on economic growth that's going to be important to me. One that is going to allow small minority and women business enterprises an opportunity to take advantage of county dollars. I do know that the county has a small business outreach program. So we want to make sure that, you know, we're doing everything that we can do to ensure that those businesses, those small minority and women business enterprises have an opportunity to fully compete in that environment. Also from our work, you know, with Trenton Board of Education, Health and Human Services is something that I really plan to focus on. Again, just understanding some of the issues, some of the conditions that members in our community are living in. It's important that we are providing them with opportunities to improve those conditions and that will meet the needs that they are experiencing. My candidacy is based on accessibility, which is something that, you know, is important to me, as well as the equitable distribution of county resources throughout the county. You know, so on this chilly Sunday morning, I give you a little bit about myself. I look forward to engaging in conversation and dialogue with members of the club and answering any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Terrence. Carol Ann?
We have time now for people to ask questions. Brian Hayes, do you want to voice your question?
Thanks, Carol Ann. And thank you to all the candidates. Appreciate your time and accessibility to join us today. My question deals with climate change. I would love to just hear directly from the candidates what you feel the most significant action we can take at the county level to directly address climate change and to promote environmental sustainability. Thank you.
And let's just go in the same order. Mike?
Thanks, Brian, for the question. I think when we think of climate change, we tend to think of wind projects and solar projects, but it really can be simple stuff like installation of LED lighting. We've done that at our town hall, and that's resulted in a 35% reduction in energy consumption. We've been a silver certified town in Lawrence Township since 2016 from Sustainable Jersey. And we were just last year, we received the Governor's Award for Environmental Excellence due to our project. If those of you are familiar with Lawrence's Town Hall, when you go by our parking lot, you'll see the 984 solar panels that we've installed that's taking 85% of our consumption at the municipal complex. It's like what Kristin was saying with the electric vehicles, having a charging station at town hall so people that have their electric vehicles have access to that. So it doesn't need to be the big projects. It's the little things that can be done. I know the county is working on these projects, but that's the type of things that we've been doing in Lawrence, and I know that would be something that I would seek to expand at the county level. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Tanil?
So I think, sure. So there's things that I think the everyday household can do as far as kind of powering your home with renewable energy. And I think that's around education, right? You know, weatherizing, investment in energy appliances, reduce our water waste, eating the food we buy and actually making sure that it's, you know, we have less meat in our diet. Those are things that we're able to do. Buy better light bulbs. Those are some of the things that I think we need to be able to educate individuals. I was having a conversation with one of your fellow colleagues the other day, and making sure that we have education in our school system just around recycling, drive, you know, fuel efficient vehicles, maintaining your ride. So whether it's, you know, inflating tires and things of that nature, rethink our planes and trains. When I talked about earlier, making sure that we're utilizing less fossil fuel, shrinking our carbon profile, I think is something that's really important to be able to offset some of these climate change issues that we have, not only in Mercer County, but in our country as well.
Thanks, Tanil. Yanmei?
So I think when we talk about the for our environment, the most important issue that we're concerning about is the greenhouse gas emission. We try to reduce it, and the most we can do using the least amount of energy and dollars to reduce the most significant amount of greenhouse emission is our goal. So in terms of this aspect, I want to tell you something we can do right now that will make a huge impact. That is, if 40% of the Americans' food production is wasted, and we don't do composting. Many townships have started the program, Lawrence and Princeton, but I think it's not going, it's finished right now. But to stop food wasting together with composting, these two items that the Mercer County Improvement Authority can do. I have worked with them on different issues, recycling and all that. We can work together. These two alone will reduce our greenhouse gas emission by 15%.
Thank you. Oh.
And in addition, this is the #1 ticket that everybody can do. And I am doing it. I'm gonna shop at Whole Earth and I shop at Reduce Bean Produce to reduce food waste. I don't waste food, but we can start right now. The second biggest item is, every 40 acres of trees will sink the carbon from 100 cars emission. And our county has been working on this issue. For example, indirectly, the deer management program. Because of deer, they eat away the young tree seedlings so that we don't have the forest. So we have been having forest regeneration problem for some time. And that's why we have the deer management program. So that program will help regenerate our forest, and that's significant carbon sink for our environment. At the same time, when we also have the other forest regeneration efforts, for example, the scheduled burn program, same purpose. So those are the two largest items that we can reduce our greenhouse carbon emission. Everybody can contribute in a large quantity in a short amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanmei. Kristin?
So you've heard a whole lot of great ideas. And yes, starting with the small things, we all can make a difference. The county can change the light bulbs. I would love to see, I've been very jealous of Lawrence's solar canopy at their parking lot. We've been talking about doing it at the township. We unfortunately have a football field that's right there, and turning those lights on and off make the solar panels more challenging. So we haven't been able to pull it off. But the county level, they have an incredible planning department. And I think we have to look long-term at transportation because that's going to be where you're going to get a really big savings over a long term. And so I was looking today again, because it directly affects my part of the county, the Great Western Bikeway. We need to find ways for people to get where they need to go. And we don't really know right now what that's going to look like in the post-pandemic world. Is everybody going to go back to going to their offices, or are transportation needs going to be diversified? We need to take a look. We need to spend a little time thinking, but extra bike routes are always good for recreation, and they may end up helping us with the larger transportation needs. We've got to focus, I think, on encouraging the larger entities to develop more rail access. There are train tracks that go all over the state that used to carry passengers. Whether or not the federal government and the states are able to add additional ways to get into New York and expand the tunnel, all those good things, we need to encourage rail development here. As folks have moved out of the cities because of the pandemic, the smaller roadways in the less urban parts of the state are going to get really, really crowded, and there's nowhere to go. So there's a whole lot of big thinking that can go into dealing with the long-term effects of climate change. And I think that is where the county's larger resources could really do good for the rest of us.
Thank you. And Terrence?
So many people have said so many wonderful things. I'm trying to think of something new to say, right? So I think, one of the most critical things, as Tanel said earlier, is education and just making sure that people understand that climate change is real. From a county perspective, kind of looking at how we reduce our carbon footprint. Speaking specifically because, I live so close to Trenton, I work in Trenton, just figuring out ways in which we can increase access or the ability for bicycle trails for people to ride bikes to and from work, to and from their places of relaxation. I think the last thing that I would say is, something's popping up on my screen, sorry. The last thing that I would say is that working on the being a part of the redevelopment agency, in our redevelopment plan, there are construction and building requirements that have to be met in terms of energy efficiency and energy system and its impact to the environment. So, just kind of looking at when development or redevelopment projects are being proposed, that there are requirements that need to be met as it relates to the environment and energy sustainability.
Okay, thank you.
Energy
and so
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. So for these last, we do have a few more questions here. So we're going to play it like the lightning round. So this is basically going to be a short and sweet answer. If we can keep it to less than a minute per answer. I know that's not a lot of time to give a lot of thoughtful response, but we would like to get all these questions in. I believe the next question is from Nisheen.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the information that you gave me. I'm thinking about my vote is important because for many reasons, as you all know, one of the most important thing to me is the diversity in my township. I would like you to tell me, how would you address the diversity in township like Robbinsville, who's asking for help and who would like to have it changed to become the true blue that it is, but is being run by the Republicans, and the name of a bipartisan is hurting us and is nothing bipartisan in it. And I would like you to tell me, how would you run the county as a diversity and inclusive department and county for our Mercer? I would like to know, how would you address that? As a foreigner who lives here for 36 years, and as a resident and a citizen, it is very important for me that that will be included in part of your plans. Thank you.
Thanks, Nisheen. All right, Mike.
Sure. I think at the local level, I know the Republicans play games. I'm a land use attorney, so the first recommendation I would recommend is your land use ordinance. Racism is and discrimination is very subtle. What they'll do is they'll say you need to have a 2-acre lot or some sort of large lot to make it harder to put affordable housing in your town. That's a subtle form of racism. You need to make sure that your land use ordinances allow for affordable housing projects to take place in the community, to make sure that you do have a diverse group of folks there. And Lawrence, we're very fortunate in that we do have an urban, suburban, and rural part of our township. So just geographically, we have the benefit of diversity. I think at the county level, what you need to do is make sure that, again, you've heard about the commitment to outreach to the immigrant community, making sure that we are not working in partnership with ICE like the Trump administration was doing, just to reassure the folks throughout the county government is there to be a resource and a help to them. That involves also translation. We have a Spanish population in our town. We make sure that the police forms for citizens' complaints are not only in English, but in Spanish. So those are the things, and the county's doing this, by the way. So, but as our immigrant population increases, it's not just the Spanish community. Yanmei with the Chinese community. There's other languages that are spoken in the home that is primarily not English. And we need to make sure from a county perspective that we're making sure that folks can communicate with their county government. Thanks.
Thanks. Tennille?
Sure. So racism has been a long history in the United States, and its impact can be found in every facet, whether it's education. We have a lot of educators on this call. Within our businesses, I think supplier diversity is incredibly important. As a county commissioner, we have, a vote on supplier diversity, and that's something that we need to be laser focused on. After the killing of George Floyd and several other high-profile police shootings, Black Lives Matter protests took place across the country and have continued that demand of sustainable change. And we all have to be aware of those devastating and long-term consequences of racial injustice and on mental and physical health of individuals. And so what I really need from all of us is to amplify your voice. We have to support legislation that enact police reform. We have to address systematic racism within the criminal justice system. And when it comes to diversity within our county, And even when I talked about being intentional in selecting the next county commissioner, you have a vote, and your vote could change the diversity of this board. And that's critical, that's important. It's important to have a diverse representation, diversity in thought. There's so many other areas that we need to focus on, whether it's gun violence, hunger, food insecurity, equality. We have to take action. And one of the things my father has always taught me is that we have to help our neighbor. So I applaud Robbinsville for the great work that you've been doing. 2 weeks ago, I was a part of your diversity panel, and you guys did an excellent job about having that conversation. And I would love to see more of that, but we need all hands on deck. It can't be the same people voicing these concerns. And so I think that it's about action. And we can talk about it, but we have to walk the walk. So when you have time to make that change, you need to do it. And so I think that's the most initial piece. And, I talked earlier about my dad's foundation. And one of the things that we're doing on June 19th, we're doing a cycle ride. I cycle and I road bike. And so we're doing a road cycling ride. And so we're really focusing on the reduction of the health disparities within the Black and Brown communities. And so I hope each and every one of you can join us. I'm going to put some information into the link, but these are some of the things that we can do to be able to provide those tools and resources and to be able to educate individuals around diversity.
Thank you. Yanmei?
So I want to, Nushin, is this, did I pronounce your name right?
Yes, it's Nushin.
Nushin.
Yes.
I believe the best way to contribute to our county and also have our voice heard is to be representatives. One of the best ways to be representatives at the county level. I am running for the commissioner's position, and we have never had Asian representative. But here is one thing that you can do today to be a representative for your group today at the county level. Our county has 21 volunteer board and commissions, and then Mr. Martinez was just appointed to be on the Mercer County Parks Commission. And I want to tell you, 40% of the position is vacant right now. For example, what's Council on Aging, and then there is this Status of Women, Culture and Heritage Board, Disability Advisory Council. I went through the appointment process before. It was very open. I guarantee you, you submit the application today, and bug them, of course, call them often, and it's Catty Ganges. You get in tomorrow, and you will be interviewed. You make sure you have no criminal records, and you will be on the board of, let's say, Status of Women. And there are 40 positions right now. So I don't see a reason for the minority people here, or any people of any, go there, volunteer, and this is how we can contribute, as minority or not, and women or not, disability people or not. There is a board for Disability Advisory Council. So let's do that. And I'll be happy to give you the contacts to do that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kristin?
So there are a whole bunch of pieces that governments can do. Number one, some of the symbolic things like the Citizens Equity Advisory Board, which is not symbolic, but it broadcasts the township's intentions to a larger group. Hopewell passed a fair and welcoming community ordinance resolution a couple of years ago because it was important for us to put on the record how we felt about these issues. I think that was when the ICE issue was rearing its very, very ugly head. So there are things like that. You can look at your land use laws are really critically important. That is how, people have been disenfranchised, not disenfranchised, but have been moved out of areas. That's how the whole Mount Laurel settlement came to be, was because a town was using its land use laws to keep people from coming there. But then it comes down to taking groups like this one and going out and talking to your neighbors and what Yanmei said, encourage them to step forward and encourage them to take the positions where they can get some access to seats at the table. And that's really how you build a strong democratic, with a small d, democratic society, is by ensuring that everyone has a voice, by making sure that, those volunteer slots are filled, that people run for the school board, that people volunteer for their local commissions. And you can do that by going out and talking to people face to face, or Zoom to Zoom, or telephone to telephone in these days. We got to use the tools we have, and encouraging people to participate. So education is important. I really believe we do need to focus on civics education in schools. I think a lot of the problems the United States has faced over the last few years could probably have been averted if people understood their government better. I think we all got a little bit of a look at what the federal government's powers were that we didn't know over the last 4 years. It is critically important that everyone move forward together, because a really simple way of looking at it is like a rubber band. You stretch it forward, but if there are groups that are held back, eventually the whole system's going to come snapping back. We need to take the time to do the work, to reach out to people who don't feel they have a voice, and say, let's all go together. That's important.
And Terrence.
So I'm going to try to be quick so we can try to get at least another question in there. I'm a Black man with locks, right? And 10 years ago, there's no way that I would be sitting on this Zoom call, trying to present myself for a county-wide position. That's just a fact. But we're showing that there's some progression in terms of trying to be more inclusive and trying to increase the diversity and representation. So from a countywide perspective, I think, as Tanil said, we really need to be intentional during this process, but we also need to be intentional in terms of the diversity in the hiring practices. And the last piece would be, the boards and commissions. We have to make sure that we are, putting forth, not the same names every single time, not the same profile, for these boards, for the positions on these boards and commissions, but we're looking to achieve that diversity and representation through that process. So just being very intentional, and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve.
Thank you so much. We have one last question from our dynamic duo of Amber and Scott. And because I know Tanil said she's got to bow out very quickly, we're going to go to Tanil first. So Amber and Scott, you can ask your question.
Hi everyone. Actually, I really appreciate all of you coming here today, and appreciated your comments. And I think my question was actually already answered. So I think if anybody else has a question, they can go, but I will withdraw my question for now.
Okay, I just have one final question, and this is a 30-second boom, first thing that comes into your head. If every resident of Robbinsville walked up to you right now and said, what are you going to do for us specifically? What is the one issue in Robbinsville that you can help us address? That's the question I'd like you to answer. I know this is putting you on the spot. Tanil?
Yeah, I think providing clear common goals on being able to provide tools and resources so that we can be successful. I think one of the things I talked about earlier is the apprenticeship program, and it's something that I truly do believe in. I think the apprenticeship program will really provide us with the necessary tools for the future of work throughout Mercer County. I know our future, not necessarily will they be going into the four-year college. Many of us during COVID will need to pivot within our careers. And so we have to be ready for that, to be able to sustain and have that economic growth. So thank you everyone for your time. I have a school presentation, but I thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you all again on March 18th. And again, I ask you for your support and vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Tennille. Same question now, Mike.
I would just say responsiveness. Robbinsville doesn't have a commissioner on the board. One of the things that Pat Calavita always did was reach out to us in terms of issues. And that's something that I would provide to Robbinsville, is just responsiveness, any issues. I know you guys have the issues with Optimum. Dan Benson's helping out on that. But if there's anything on the county level, I'd bring that responsiveness to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Yanmei.
I want to tell you that I will always be here as a full-time plus overtime steward for our county. Anytime you have, and I'm here to work with you together on infrastructure, environment, community, and democracy issues, all of them. So I will be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristin.
Sorry. So I think that that I'm going to go back with communication, transparency, openness, making sure that you all have, that everyone in Robbinsville has a voice in their government. Sorry, issues like development. You need to hear from your residents, and if there are people who are making decisions who are not talking to the broad community and making those decisions without full input, then I would like to help be that voice to help amplify those concerns. It is important that residents trust that their government has their best interests at heart, and that can only be done with a transparent, open process at every level.
Thank you. And Terrence.
In 30 seconds. Helping you address the issues of diversity that's come up during this meeting, and just staying within the 30-second range, the 30-second time limit. It is critically important that leadership reflects the community in which it's serving. And as our communities throughout the township, throughout the county are changing, we have to ensure that the representation of leadership reflects that. The anti-racism presentation that you guys had the other night, where Commissioner Frisby was the moderator. I envision myself, being playing similar roles and helping to increase opportunities for diversity.
Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Carol Ann in 1 second, but I would just like to thank all of our elected officials. You've been wonderful to us. We love you all. And to the candidates, I can't tell you how impressed I am with all of you. This is going to be a very difficult decision for us, I'm sure. But thank you so much for your willingness to run. It takes a lot to put yourself out there, to do the work, and to subject yourself to public scrutiny. So thank you very much for that. And I look forward to hearing more from you. And now, Carol Ann, your closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Sonia, and thank you so much to all the candidates and for the people who asked questions. I will be putting out an email to our county committee, I'm sorry, our municipal committee people with some information. If you have the candidates, if you have information, printed information in a document or a PDF that you would like me to send along, I can do that. I'll be sending this email out by noon tomorrow. So I'll wait till noon. So if you want to send me something, you can. You all know, you all have my email address now. It's Robbinsville Dems. That's whatever is in your inbox. We will be sharing the link to this video with our committee people who were not able to attend so that they can watch this. We do look forward to seeing you on March 18th. I'm looking forward to seeing all our committee members on March 18th. Thank you very much for spending time with us today, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.